I'm Javier Harkeen, and this is Harking Back, a podcast about the pop culture of a lifetime. Whose life? Mine. I'm going back through every year I've been alive and finding out what was going on in that year. This week we're looking at 2013. I was 31. What's going on that year for me? Annie and I living together in London on our own for the first time after we got married, which is great, and we are grinding with our careers. We said we're going to we made an arrangement that we said at this time we didn't have kids or any other big commitments, and we were going to be selfish with our careers and try and gain ground now. So we just said we're not going to try to prioritize seeing each other that much. And just anytime you get a chance to go somewhere, go. So she was traveling lots to the US and India and Europe, and I was traveling to places like Slough and Staines and Norwich and other jewels of the UK. Just both living the dream. We really were kind of like, at some point, ships in the night that year. To the point it was our first anniversary. And I remember Annie saying, look, we're going all over the place. We're not seeing each other much, but let's make sure we spend our anniversary together, okay? She said, don't take any work on your anniversary. I was like, I won't, darling, I won't. And then leading up to our anniversary, she goes, I've got to be in India. Sorry. And I went, all right. But let's never forget this. Let's never forget who wasn't there our first anniversary. She will hate that I am saying this. In fairness, I got to travel to some cool places as well that I'd never been to. I got to go to places like Croatia and Slovenia and Serbia, Romania, Czech Republic, Belgium, just a lot around Europe. And there was this place in Poland. I remember this. We went to Warsaw and we did a gig in a Mexican restaurant that was owned by an Irish guy in the capital of Poland, and he was a bit nervous about how it was going to go because it was the first time they did comedy. And after we did the show, he was really happy. It had gone really well because the people were sticking around. This is always a sign of a good comedy show. If it's in a place that has a bar or a restaurant, if people stick around, it's generally because they had a good time. When people don't like a show, they tend to fuck off pretty quickly. But everyone's sticking around. He was really happy. I remember he came and said, "Great show, lads. Let's get pissed." And we did, because drinks were on the house and margaritas. Oh, you should only have a couple of them, because I had lots. And turns out sugary, salty drinks don't make you feel good the next day. And oh my God, I was really not feeling good the next day. And then our liaison was like, oh, we'd like to take you around to some places in Poland. And what I didn't realize about Poland at that point was they are very, very proud of their vodka. So every place we went to, they were like, oh, and you must try a shot of our homemade vodka. And I was like, oh, God, I don't know if I'm going to make this. Anyway, I remember one particular gig in 2013 in Swindon. I think it was a Wednesday night. And it was in this kind of like, sometimes you do gigs in like places that are venues that are clearly for music. Like this was clearly like a rock venue, and the clientele looked a bit rougher, like not the kind of people you'd expect to go to comedy. And anyway, I go on, and in the interval I've been on, and I've gone well, and this huge tattooed guy comes up to me, and he goes, "Hello, mate." And I go, "Hello." And he goes, "Just want to say I saw your set, and I really enjoyed it." And I went, "Oh, thank you." He's leaning in a bit too much. He's a huge guy. He's like, his beer smells like whiskey and cigarettes, and he's just got tattoos everywhere, and I can see the smallest ones because he's up so close. And he goes, "Because, I've had a bit of a hard time because I just had a mate who died." And I went, "Oh, really? I'm really sorry to hear that." And he goes, "He died of a sore stomach. I can't believe Gavin's gone." And that's when he starts laughing his ass off. Because he's done a joke. If you're not from the UK, Gaviscon is a reflux medication. Like it's like this, milk of Mylanta sort of thing that you drink when you've got an upset stomach. And he just came up to me and did this joke about Gavin's gone. And I just did that thing of like, will you laugh? Because you're like, if I don't laugh and give you big eyes while I'm laughing, I think you might take me to the car park and shank me. That was fun. Let's look at things that happened in 2013. 2013, this is the year that Lance Armstrong admits to doping in all 7 of his Tour de France victories. You think some people might have gotten suspicious after the first 3? Do you think that, shit, this guy's just really good on a bike? Turns out what they were doing was switching blood samples. So they were doping themselves all up and then switching blood samples when it came to do testing. And by the way, I found this out. This all started, like they found out about Lance Armstrong when a Dallas-based insurer, SCA Promotions, had to pay out a $5 million bonus after Armstrong won his 6th consecutive Tour de France. And they went, we don't want to pay this. What if we launch into investigation because we think he's pretty shady anyways? So because of a company not wanting to pay out, that's how they started taking down Lance Armstrong. Much to the chagrin of a journalist who had been covering him for years, going like, he's clearly doping. He's clearly doping. There was a joke I used to do years ago, maybe around this time. And it involved like Tiger Woods, the Tiger Woods scandal, and Lance Armstrong and Oscar Pistorius. And it was a good joke, and I just can't use the joke anymore because they're just so gone now. You know, this is why topical stuff, you got to kind of use it and love it and then leave it because it's gone. It's gone. If you like, I will find the clip for you and put it in the Discord if anyone asks for it. Let me do that for you if you want. Also in 2013, Kevin Hart is arrested on suspicion of drink driving. Cops pulled him over and he failed a sobriety test. And the funny thing about this is he later tweeted, Kevin Hart tweets, "The cop asked me to take a sobriety test. I said, why waste our time? I'm drunk, man." Celebrities, just never too fucked to tweet, are they? Like off their faces, but never enough to not tell the world about it through Twitter, when it still was Twitter. Guy's like 5'4". Like he must have had like a beer and a half in his system. Also in 2013, I can say it. Same-sex marriage is legalized in New Zealand. Go New Zealand, well done. Now if we can just get to work on the sheep, because, you know, New Zealand and sheep. The Harlem Shake is a thing. Remember the Harlem Shake? That video trend where like it's got a lot of people and one person is dancing weirdly and then for about 8 seconds and then the music drops and then everyone is doing weird shit. That's going huge in 2013. There was always one person in the Harlem Shake that always just kind of looks like, I don't want to be doing this, but like everyone said that we have to before we're allowed to do anything else or before we're allowed to eat. Yeah, I feel them. I was never involved in a Harlem Shake because I didn't have that many friends. Oxford word of the year is selfie. Just shows you where we're going as a society in 2013. Also, there is a video called What Does the Fox Say? And it's the most viral video on YouTube. I had never actually seen it, and I didn't know about it. I think I maybe had heard about it. I'd never seen it, but I thought I'd better look it up now if I'm going to talk about it. And I managed 12 seconds of this. Sadly, I don't think it's going to stand the test of time. Like, do you know why this generation of parents lose their minds? It's because their kids latch onto this sort of shit and play it 500 times. Like, the day that I think my daughter started her psychological warfare on us is the day she figured out how to ask Alexa to play any song she wants. Like, in the 80s, you had to beg your parents to buy you a cassette. And sure, you could play that cassette over and over again, but once it happened once with one song, your parents were like, they got wise and they weren't going to be buying you shit again. But these days, yeah, there are going to be some parents out there who, if you ask them, like, have you heard of What Does the Fox Say? Their eyes will roll back a complete 360 and they'll age 5 years just at the mere memory of What Does the Fox Say. Let's have a look at the songs and music that is going on in 2013. In 2013, this is the year that Miley Cyrus twerks. Sorry, get it right, Harv. There is terminology for this. Twerks at the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, and people get annoyed and offended. And at this, and people from the future just say, shut up. Just shut up. You think that's the most shocking thing to happen in an awards show? Hold my beer and let me introduce you to Will Smith. You know what? Just let her wear herself out. If she's out there twerking, like, do you know what? This is the thing. You know what people who want attention want? Attention. And everyone mistakes that for, like, they wanting your approval. They don't want your approval. They want your attention. If you really want to piss these people off, when they're looking for attention, look bored. They can't stand that. This reminds me, I was doing a show in Edinburgh. It was late and live, if you know about it. It's a show that starts at 1 a.m. And I think that's kind of all you need to know about what kind of show it is. Starts at 1 a.m. On waiting to go on. And on before me is this double act from Canada. 2 ladies. And they're kind of like vaudeville-esque. I don't know. I can't quite see what's happening because I'm on the side of the stage. And it's anyway. they're out there and they're not doing so well, but then they do this thing where they strip naked. They strip down to completely naked and they jump out into the audience and they start running around the audience. The audience is sitting around these small like cocktail cabaret tables, so there's space to run in between them. And they're running around and everyone, you can see they're doing this because they want to elicit shock but everyone there is just sitting there, arms crossed, looking so bored. And it is driving these ladies crazy because they can't get the reaction they want. And at this point, I say, fuck it. And I just stick my head around the corner. I don't care if the audience can see me because I have to see the spectacle of an Edinburgh audience not blinking an eye at these two naked Canadian women screaming and shrieking around the room. And it gets to the point where one of them goes up to a guy and she gets in his face and she's like screaming in his face to try and get some reaction out of him. And she just stops for a second to kind of like, because he looks like he's about to say something. And he just says, and the room's silent because everyone can see them doing this. And he just says, "Your tits are shite." And oh my God. This lady, she picks up the closest pint of beer and throws it in his face. Everyone starts booing them. And they start going, "Fuck you, Edinburgh. Fuck this audience. Fuck." They're giving everyone the fingers. Everyone's booing them. They're walking off audience. They're just walking kind of backstage. Everyone's booing. This guy's wiping beer. Some people are like clapping because this is the best thing that's happened all show. And please welcome Javier Hakeem. What the fuck? Anyway, sorry, we're talking about music in 2013. This is the year that Royals by Lorde is a huge hit. Good on you, Lorde. She's from New Zealand. Happy by Pharrell is a song that happens in 2013, and some of you will absolutely be shaking at this. Annie, I think, is traumatized by the song. No one could escape this song. The irony of a song about being happy being so overplayed that upon hearing the first two bars of the song, most people became very unhappy. Hey Ho by the Lumineers, that "Hey Ho, I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweet heart." That one. This is the White Guy Sincere soft rock song of the year. I mean, you just hear this song and you can just see in your head the kind of boots these guys wear. The ones that are already like kind of pre-worldly worn when you buy them. Those kind of ones. You know, the ones that like, "Oh yeah, I work with leather all the time." That kind of thing. These kind of guys that wear their hats not quite on their head, just kind of perched on the back half of the... Oh, I hate that shit. Anyway, I Love It by Iconopop, is the one that... I don't care. That one. I know this song because it's on the Gossip Girl soundtrack. And they must have run out of money for other songs because they use the song all the time. Almost every cutaway they use this song. I swear, it's grown on me. It's grown on me. Why am I watching Gossip Girl? Because Annie's watching Gossip Girl. Let's look at the top 5 songs of 2013. At number 5, Can't Hold Us by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. This is the one that's like, this, the one that goes, "This is the moment when the city can't hold us." That one. This is the song they use for every countdown to a big announcement before it gets close to being exciting. When they're like, "Everyone, it's only 40 minutes until product launch," or something, and then they'll get people to do a half-hearted cheer. And then they'll cut to this song. This song, every time. Number 4 is Harlem Shake by Bauer. I never knew this was a real song, Harlem Shake, because I'd only ever heard 18 seconds of it. Bauer, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It sounds German, but turns out he's American, unless I'm pronouncing that really, really wrong. No, man, it's Bayer. Number 3 is Radioactive by Imagine Dragons, which is a great band name. My Croatian friend Nino got me into this. Nino's great. Nino has taken me out to Croatia many times, and he's just a character. He was a war journalist during the fall of Yugoslavia. He was a radio comedian. He was kind of like the Monty Python of Croatia. The first time I went out there, we did a show, and afterwards we go to a bar called Peppermint in Zagreb, which is no longer open, which is a shame because it was awesome. And by the way, everyone in this bar and nightclub in Croatia is gorgeous. It looks like you walk into a music video and then we walk in like with our stupid comedian faces. Anyway, he's getting some drinks at the bar and I suddenly notice he's talking to these young people and these very young, attractive people. And I go up and I realized that one of them started going like, "Oh my God, you're Nino Bantic? You're this guy?" I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when I found out he was like a quasi-celebrity. No, not a quasi. He was a celebrity in Croatia. And I was like, this is awesome. Tell me everything. Anyway, he's the guy that introduced me into this song. A lot of tangents today. Get used to them. I don't know why they're coming in thick and fast. Number 2 is Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. I knew there was controversy about this song, and I didn't really know what it was, but it's about trivializing sexual violence and probably that god-awful black and white suit that he wears in the music video. Again, this is, like with the people that want attention, this is the problem with outrage. It is amazing promotion. So all the people that got outraged about this song only drew people to listen to the song. Like, this is why outrage, if you're outraged by something, the best thing you could do is just not give it any airtime. There was a guy, I remember hearing a story about a guy that was doing a book tour about picking up women, or maybe it was a movie or something. Anyway, it caused outrage and people would turn up to protest the book, and that was the best thing they could do for this book. I'm pretty sure it was a book. The promoter even got to the point where on the book tour, he would call ahead to feminist groups before they arrived, just so they would show up and be outraged and make buzz and exposure for this book. So if you hate something, just don't go and post about it. Go, I hate this, and you just draw more attention to it. It is absolutely what they want. And at number 1 is Thrift Shopped by Macklemore. Thrift Shop by Macklemore. I love this song. And I heard it organically. I didn't have to get a friend to tell me about it. I didn't have to come across it years later. I heard it organically, so it made me feel young again. It's just got a weighty beat to it, and like this funny, ironic theme. It's a great song to cook to. It's a great one. Another huge song comes out this year, but we will talk about that when we get to movies. Hint, hint. Let's look at the games that are coming out in 2013. On mobile, Flappy Bird is hugely popular and probably the number 1 contributor to broken phone screens in the world. Candy Crush is crushing it. It did come out in 2012, but I missed it last podcast, sorry. I did a gig for King, which is the company behind this. I was still doing close-up magic, and they wanted a magician. I was going around going, oh, please pick a card and don't look at my hands. I'm really bad at this. And I turned up with a couple of packs of cards. But when I got there, it's at their corporate office, they just, around this party, had goldfish bowls full of playing cards, full of packs of cards. So I love this because there's a lot of tricks that when you do it, you destroy the card. Like, card out of your mouth or whatever. And what happens is, once you do that, that card is gone and the pack is not complete anymore. And you kind of need that sometimes for a lot of close-up magic tricks. So I love just being able to grab a fresh pack and essentially just destroy everything in that and then go to another fishbowl and not have to use my own cards. So that was nice when I still used to do close-up magic. Don't ask me to do it. I'm still terrible at it. And was never good at it. In gaming also, Injustice comes out and it's a breath of fresh air for fighting games. It's like a Mortal Kombat-esque sort of fighting game using DC heroes like Superman, Batman, Flash. In a time when fighting games seem to be really waning in popularity, this comes out and it's fun. It's good. A big release this year is Aliens Colonial Marines, and I will never forget this because our good friend Nick, when we were living with him, this came out just as we moved out. He is a huge Aliens fan, the franchise Aliens. He loves Aliens. He loves the Colonial Marines. And they announced this game and he pre-orders it. He gets it day 1. He's so excited. And this game is so shit. It's so shit. And if there's one thing I love watching Nick do, it's lose his shit when something he has spent good, hard, honest money on. And he always takes a shit product or a shit service so personally, and I love it. I just remember watching him play this game. He's just watching like a xenomorph with terrible AI stumble around the screen, supposedly trying to be menacing. He's like, what the fuck is this? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. I do love watching you lose your shit. It's one of my favorites. But don't you all, like with your best friends, right? With your good friends, watching them lose their mind. It's great. Because everyone else around them is trying to like calm them down and you're just losing your mind laughing at them. Sorry. Indie games that are popular this year are things like the Stanley Parable, aka Writer's Block, the game, Papers, Please is an indie game that comes out where you get to play an immigration officer, very popular amongst immigrants. And Guacamole is a game where you play a luchador from Mexico, again, very popular amongst immigrants. See what I did there? Jokes, jokes, jokes. Game of the year for me goes to GTA 5. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. GTA 5 comes out in 2013. Yes, I know people love it. I had the same thing happen to me with GTA 5 that I did happen with GTA 4. I got to a point where I got a property at the end of the mission in GTA 5, and it said, "This is now a property of yours. You'll have to visit it regularly to maintain." And I went, I'm out. I came here to steal cars and cause mayhem, not to maintain a fucking property. It was the same thing in GTA 4, where suddenly it was like, "You've got friends now and girlfriends. You're going to have to take them out to bowling and dates." And I went, no, I don't want to do that. I'm here to steal cars and be a criminal mastermind and a general nuisance to the public. I don't want this. I'm not here for responsibilities. You know what? That's it. That's the fundamental thing. In this game where I'm supposed to be a criminal, you're giving me responsibilities. And by definition, I don't want to do them, and my character shouldn't either. Also, in GTA 5, you played 3 different characters. Trevor is a character that everyone loved because he's psychotic and edgy. I hated playing as him. I hated this character. I didn't find him edgy or charming. I found him just to be the worst human being ever, and I wanted to see him die and not win the game with him. I didn't want him to win at all. I would find myself, when I was playing as him, just getting into high-speed crashes or throwing him off buildings because I hated him. All right? I understand GTA 5 is a phenomenal masterpiece of gaming development, but some things about it just made me go, no, I don't, not for me. The real game of the year for me for 2013 goes to The Last of Us. The Last of Us, if you played it, you'll know it's the best movie you'll ever play. It's a third-person action game set in a zombie-like apocalypse with the story of an unlikely pairing having to navigate this bleak future. It's the developing relationship between the two that's the backbone of this game. And I can't remember the last time a game's story had me so gripped. And in true zombie apocalypse fashion, it turns out that the real monster is humanity and its demise. And there are moments where betrayal turns truly terrifying in this game. I think it came out at a time where people were looking they were looking for something a bit richer from their games rather than just run and gun. And this was one of those games that when you finished it, you just kind of put the controller down and just kind of stared into the middle distance for a bit, you know? It's very good. That's my tagline. That's my seal of approval. I know I say that a lot, but when I say that, I do really mean it. You know, when I say it's very good. It's very good. It gets 5 very goods out of me. Let's look at movies that come out in 2013. In 2013, Gravity comes out, which is Sandra Bullock spinning and looking for a handle for an hour and a half in space. Thor: The Dark World comes out. Oh dear. Oh dear. I love hearing people try to convince others that this is a good movie. Like, a kind of, you know, when it's openly, you know, for the longest time, it was just the dark, you know, it was the black sheep of the MCU, Thor: The Dark World. There's just, it's very little to like about it. Very little. It's devoid of joy. It's ridiculous, right? And just people that try to go, no, it's good because of these reasons. I always go, yes, please, let me hear you. Please convince me. I love it. World War Z comes out this year with Brad Pitt. And I got to be one of those annoying people that could say, the book is so much better. And it is. And it is. The book World War Z is one of my favorite books ever. It's written by Max Brooks, who is Mel Brooks' son. It's not a comedy. It is just, if you like the idea of a zombie apocalypse and you are wondering, I wonder what would happen to different facets of society and like the prelude and the aftermath and how different parts of the world would handle a real, true global zombie apocalypse, this book is for you. It's a collection of kind of anecdotes from a fictional... It's a guy that goes around and interviews people that have lived through and survived this global zombie apocalypse, and it covers things from like the doctor who was first on the scene to one of the first cases to media coverage of the initial pandemic, people trying to hawk drugs to be the cure or the antidote for this, the 1% trying to pay off people to protect them, militaries making decisions. It's incredible. It's very good. You know what I was going to say. It's very good. It's well worth your time. It's incredible. It's a great book. And the movie could never, ever do it justice because this book is so grand in scope. Yeah. Do you notice that they didn't make the sequels of World War Z? Because they just knew they couldn't match it. That's what I think. Anyway, Man of Steel comes out, and Henry Cavill is a great Superman in a not great Superman movie. I mean, they just lingered too much on Krypton at the start. I get they wanted to really kind of show where he was from and General Zod and everything, but it's not really a fun movie. Zack Snyder just managed to make everything just kind of like that cold filter. It just makes you feel a bit cold rather than inspired. Which, it's, the best Superman stories make you feel like, maybe there's a bit of Superman in all of us, right? But it's a bit boring. And Henry Cavill, you did a great job with what you could do. He was in that cage like an absolute beast. The Lone Ranger comes out in 2013 and it loses $190 million. And following the flop of John Carter for the year before, ouch, Disney, ouch. Luckily, they have an ace up their sleeve. More on that later. This is the year that Now You See Me comes out. Now You See Me, the ending is disappointment, but top marks for concept. Like, it was one of those, shut up, I've got it moments. I mean, it's a heist film where the magicians pull off a heist. Heist film with magicians. You've sold me. I watched it. I mostly enjoyed it. This year also, Sharknado. Sharknado is an unexpected hit. It's a disaster movie about a tornado that swoops up sharks, and then you have a Sharknado, and it starts dropping sharks all over LA. Genius. I think this is around the time when most 12-year-olds could slap an animation on anything. So when someone said, what if there was a tornado that swooped up sharks and spat them out? There was a special effects company cheap enough that said, we'll do it. Say what you will about Sharknado. This movie was so successful, it spawned a sequel. Oh, so did I say one sequel? It spawned 5. 5 sequels. Each with titles that reek of being placeholder titles that were never replaced. Let me just go through these with you because they're fantastic. We have Sharknado, then Sharknado 2, the second one. That's the tagline. I'm not making these up. These are what they are. Sharknado 2, the second one. Sharknado 3, oh hell no. Sharknado 4, the fourth awakens. Sharknado 5, global swarming. And the last Sharknado, it's about time. Was it? Oh, well done, all the people behind the Sharknado. Is it weird that I suddenly have a desire to do a deep dive into the Sharknado franchise? I would like to announce my new podcast, Sharknado Files. Surely they've got to be rip-offs, right? Like, if a series of movies that are so B grade and clearly so cheap to make, surely there'd be spin-offs. Like, just the formula's simple. Just take a scary animal and a natural disaster and throw them together, right? Like, I don't know, Spider Tsunami 2. This time, 8 legs is not enough. I don't know. Or like, I've got it. Snake Quake. That's it. Earthquake that erupts snakes. Done. Come on, guys. Let's do it. Let's make it. Top 5 movies that come out in 2013. Number 5 is The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Just like Jennifer Lawrence's career, she's everywhere for the next decade. Number 4, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Peter Jackson. Boo, Peter Jackson. Shame on you for making this trilogy. You did not have to. You had your millions and your masterpiece. Do not need to make this. Boo, boo, boo. At number 3, Despicable Me 2. By the way, that is the wrath you'll incur from me. Boo, boo, boo. 3 boos. 3 lackluster boos if I feel that you've completely sold out your soul when you did not need to. So, boo, boo, boo. Burn. Where were we? Number 3, Despicable Me 2, which is the inevitable sequel, which was nowhere near as good as the original, but well done, everyone. At number 2, Iron Man 3. People seemed a little underwhelmed by this entry, but the more I watch it, the more I really love it. Like, you get the fun flashback of Tony's past at the start. Guy Pearce is a charming villain. The remote suit is a cool new mechanic. And the house party sequence at the end is an awesome climax as Tony's jumping from suit to suit. Although the downside is that Iron Patriot in this one doesn't really have a lot to do in this one, and I've always had a soft spot for War Machine. And I do know that I understand that people were really pissed off with the whole Mandarin way and the way that character went down in that movie. I'm not going to give you any spoilers here. There was a beautiful bit in the movie where I'm watching it in London, and they mention Croydon, which is like kind of comedians love to use it as like, oh, I live in the dodgy part of the outskirts of London, Croydon, and when they mentioned Croydon, the whole cinema just went way, which is just British for I know that place and I think it's a shithole. That's what way means. And also, when one of your mates does something stupid, lads go way. It's a very British saying. And number one is oh god, it's Frozen. It's Frozen. Holy shit! Where did this movie come from? I looked at this like this is a huge global phenomenon. Even if you haven't seen it, you know it. You've heard the song. The last time Disney brought out a movie that was this big, and I'm talking about Disney, not Pixar that they acquired. I'm talking about Disney animation. Last time a movie came out that was this big, I would argue would be Lilo and Stitch, which was over a decade ago. Like in between that, they brought out Tangled, but I don't think it was near the heights of Frozen. This movie, much like Elsa's Ice Castle, just seemed to emerge out of nowhere and suddenly feels like it had been there forever. It's a movie that moves away from the whole prince-princess dynamic and focuses instead on the relationship between two sisters. I mean, it had to be sisters, by the way. If they were brothers, one of them would never have been able to get over the fact that one of them had awesome ice powers and the other just, didn't. And also the song. That fucking song. Just mention the title, Let It Go, to any parent and you'll see their eyes immediately turn grey. It's a damn good song too. It's just been overplayed to death. I think some people probably have been let it go to death. Like if they were on the deathbed and someone played this song, they just would have gone, fuck it, I'm going now, bye. Like this song has given an army of kids party entertainers a steady career. Like if you're a mediocre kids party entertainer, I've been to enough kids parties now. If you just end with Let It Go, especially for a girls' party, you just put on a princess dress and you play Let It Go and you give the kids streamers, you finish strong and everyone's like, great, this was a great party. Elsa, by the way, it's so unfair. Elsa gets ice powers, gets to be queen, and gets the best song in the movie. I guess it's also about teaching kids that some siblings just get all the luck. Oh, and in the second movie, when Elsa goes, hey Anna, you can be queen now if you want because I'm off to be a literal god. Bye. Blondes clearly do have more fun. It's funny, the last 4 in the top 4 are all sequels, right? Apart from number 1, Frozen, which is an original IP. And it's nice to see that people are still willing to come out and see new ideas. I was really, say what you will about Frozen, I'm really hoping that studios could see like original ideas still can top the box office. More of that, please. My picks of the year for 2013, movies like Pacific Rim. Yes, I know, it's a B movie about big dumb mech robots, but I find the concept boyishly alluring. I mean, you had me at giant mechs. This film knows exactly what it is, and it's just big dumb fun. And if you can lean into it, I think you'll really enjoy it. Pain and Gain. Sorry, let me say that again. I feel like I'm not enunciating. Sorry, my nose is a little blocked. You might hear me sniffing a little bit and a bit nasal, but sorry about that. It's just winter. Pain and Gain is a movie that comes out. It's based on a true story, the true story of bodybuilders that turned to kidnapping and extortion, directed by Michael Bay, starring Anthony Mackie, Mark Wahlberg, and The Rock, when The Rock was still willing to not be the main character in a movie. Like, if there was an Oscars for B movies, this would win Best Picture, and Sharknado would win everything else. It's really fun. And it's funnier than you think it's going to be. At number... Oh, no, not number 1, just my picks of the year. Also, Wolf of Wall Street comes out in 2013. I was in New Zealand about to go to the movies with my dad. And we were about to go... We always like going to the cinema. And we were picking which movies were on. And we were about to go see Keanu Reeves' 47 Ronin. But at the last minute, we chose The Wolf of Wall Street. And I'm so glad we did. Because 47 Ronin was horrendous. And I can't imagine anything more awkward than watching that with my dad. Both of us sitting there going, this was a terrible choice. Wolf of Wall Street is It's funny because it's a movie about the dangers of greedy wealth and excess, which has only seemed to heighten people's desire for greedy wealth and excess, you know? And I'm not business minded at all. And this is really my my example of that, because I've seen this movie 3 times and I still really couldn't tell you what they did was wrong. I couldn't tell you what the illegal bit was. I don't know what bit was the crime that they get them on at the end. All I know is that they're bad business people. I just know that they're bad people doing bad things. I couldn't put my finger on what bit of it is actually illegal, but I know just bad. They're bad overall. Good directing. And Scorsese, by the way, talking about the director, is definitely showing he's still got it with this one, even though it is a lengthy 3 hours and a bit, this movie. God damn. I Give It a Year is, sorry, it's not Wolf of Wall Street. Another movie that comes out is one called I Give It a Year, and it's this utterly charming British rom-com that produced lots of laugh out loud moments for me because of how accurately they portray the couple in this, the couple's marriage in this, you know? It's a really good Perfect Sunday movie, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to when it started. It's very good. God, I need another saying. Sorry. My movie of the year for 2013 is Rush. It's a movie about the racing rivalry in F1 in the 70s between James Hunt and Niki Lauda, starring Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, and it's directed by Ron Howard. Ron Howard did movies like A Beautiful Mind, Backdraft, Ransom, Apollo 13, Far and Away, and more. I wasn't expecting this movie to be as balanced as it was. Like, normally with these kind of movies, there's kind of like, oh, I'm the hero, and this is the villain. There's no villain, there's no hero, only the rivalry through the sport. And this movie does a fantastic job of showcasing both men and their polar opposites. Like, the differences in their character, their competitiveness, and their mutual respect are all deeper than you think that when you first look at this movie. I watched it on the plane first, and the next chance I got, I immediately rewatched it on a proper screen. And anytime it's on, I will watch it because it's very good. Fucking hell. Something else. Help me come up with a new line, please. Also, if you were an F1 driver in the 70s, you were lucky to make it to the end of the season. Those cars were exploding bullets on wheels. Well done to you if you survived. Times Person of the Year in 2013 is Pope Francis. I mean, well done. I guess the bar is pretty low when the guy before you was a Nazi. Remember that? Who was it? Benedict was the Pope before him who quit. Like, not suspicious at all. He was like, no, I'm not a Nazi. I'm out of here. Anyway, bye. Personally, what did I do? Oh, that's right. 2013, I had the weird thing happen where Pepsi, I did a kind of like an online ad video for Pepsi. They had this Pepsi drink. It was Pepsi Max, I think it was. Anyway, the whole thing was Pepsi Max was 0 sugar, and their whole tagline was Pepsi Max, 0 taste, maximum. No, it's 0 taste, 0 sugar. Can you see? I didn't do any more ads for them. Zero sugar, maximum taste, and the tagline was unbelievable. So they had a series of people doing unbelievable things whilst drinking Pepsi. And this company came to me on behalf of Pepsi, and they were like, your card throwing, we've seen some of it. We want to pay you to do some card throwing tricks for us for this Pepsi campaign. And I was like, yes, I can do that. I can't believe someone's going to pay me to throw cards. This was not what the plan was, but I'm so thankful it is now. Me saying that it was not the plan was not because I didn't want it to happen, but it's so ridiculous that when I was learning how to throw cards, I ever would have thought, I'm going to get paid big bucks for this one day. Anyway, so they came and they wanted me to do these tricks, some of which I'd already done online, and just to replicate them. But they were like, could you like cut piano wire with a card? And I was like, no. And they said, like, could you open a tube gate with a card? I said, what are you talking? Not only that, they wanted me to bounce. If you live in London, or if you know about tube or barrier gates that you hold a card onto, like if you live in a big city that has a metro, I'm sure you use contactless cards to do it. You have to hold it on there for 2 seconds, right? They wanted to know if I could bounce one of these cards, like stand on the side of these barriers and bounce a card so it hits and bounces across multiple sensors on these barriers and open a bunch of doors. And I just looked at them and I wanted to say, are you fucking out of your mind? But then I remembered they wanted to pay me. So I said, oh, I don't think we could do that. They wanted to know if I could like break glass with cards. And just a lot of things are saying no. And I was trying to give them different things like, we can't do that, but you can boomerang a card really nicely. You could do a big distance throw with cards. You could do like rapid fire cards. But they were like, could you throw a card through a helium balloon, through a ring of fire into a helium balloon and have it explode? And I was like, I don't think so. And they're like, because we think that would look really cool. And I really had to bite my tongue from going like, well, what am I doing here? Because again, they were going to pay me. So we shot this video and it was all a bunch of different trick shots. I think I still have it somewhere. But the majority of the shots we did, were the ones they wanted to do outside. I was like, shots outside with cards are really hard because any little bit of wind makes the card fly erratically and terribly. And we live in the UK where it's windy all the time. And we ended up having to use like some plain kind of like, imagine like a blank credit card, like nothing, like just a plastic card, right? We ended up using this and we ended up using like fake glass. And some shots I felt good about because I felt they were authentic. Like there was one where they said, could you throw a card into a car's sunroof as it drives down the street if you look out a window on the second story looking down into it? And we did that. And I was like, yes, we could do that. And some other ones, like boomerang cards, I think we did, and some rapid fire stuff. I like that. But there's some curving cards around things for targets. I did that. But the ones I really wouldn't budge on with things like, can you smash glass? And I was like, no, you can't. They were like, can you smash a light bulb? And it's like, with a plastic card, you can, but it needs to hit the glass like absolutely firm on. And so they ended up using some sugar glass for some things. And anyway, I felt really icky about some of the things I was doing. Like the barrier one, we ended up doing one where I just threw a card at one barrier and I was trying to boomerang the card onto the barrier so it would slide off the sensor and the card would stay on there for the longest time it could before falling off because it needed time. In the end, they got a member of staff to open the door as I hit it with the card. And it just felt really icky to me because I was like, this is all bullshit. And then they told me that with some of these other unbelievable videos, what they'd done. And I was like, I'm not going to say what happened because I'm not going to spoil anything. But I was like, oh, okay, this is how you guys have been doing this. All right, okay, fine. And this is the reason why after this, I always made a big deal of like, I don't want to use any other sort of cards rather than just regular cards. I did a bunch of trick shots on cards over lockdown, and some people would be like, oh, they're gimmick cards, they're this sort of card, they're that. And I always just use regular cards. It's because of this experience of feeling so deceitful. But, it's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it? Anyway, I will find this video if you want me to again, and I'll put it on the Discord. And I'll tell you, I'll go through it if you want and tell you which tricks were real and which tricks were faked. When I say faked, like the helium balloon one, they said, okay, what we'll do, they had a ring of fire and a helium balloon. And they said, can you throw the card through the fire? And I was like, it's not going to catch fire. And they had some special effects guys, and they said, oh, we've got this gel that they use for movies that's really flammable. So maybe that'll go through, and when the flame touches the gel, it'll ignite the card and blow up the balloon. And I was like, okay. But they put the gel on it, and it just weights the card down. It's really hard to throw. And when I do manage to throw it, it goes through the flame too quickly to catch fire. In the end, again, they just have to fake it, where they position the camera behind the balloon. I throw a card. It looks like it catches fire. It doesn't. And then they just manually blew up the balloon anyway. And I was just like, this is so unsatisfying for everyone. Before we did this video, they do the deep dive because they're Pepsi. They went through my Twitter account and made me delete any tweet where I'd mentioned Coke, or as they call it, the C word in there, and also any other tweets that they deemed like, we don't want to be associated with someone that tweets something like this. I think there was a tweet in there about like a lady with her pram that had like smashed into me, and I was like, I hope your child runs away or something like that. And they were like, you need to delete that. Also, they were like, in one of our first meetings, or when we were getting ready for the shoot, I came in for a meeting with them, and they're like, and in the video, we're kind of like out in the street, we're in a cool part of London. What do you think about wearing? Because we want to, we want you to look cool and funky. And I just go, I was thinking about wearing like this. And they look me up and down, and they just go, No, we'll get someone from wardrobe to get you some clothes. And so they ended up getting me some like flannel green checkered shirt. I hated it, and some shoes that were like a size too big, so I had to wear double socks. Ugh. And also they said for one of our previous videos, there was a guy trying to do something, and at the end, he does it, and all his friends come in and cheer, and they're all like jumping around and cheering. And they said, "Do you think you could get a bunch of your friends to come and do something similar?" And I was like, don't really have that many friends in London, and also most of them work. So in the end, I was like, I get one friend to join me, and it's a friend who was an actor who had come over from New Zealand to see if he could be an actor over here. He happened to be the only one that was free on like a Tuesday during work hours. So while this other video's got like all the guys' friends all rushing him, like it's just me and this one actor friend kind of just looking at each other going, "This is it, just me and you." Anyway, oh God, I haven't thought about that video in ages, but I do remember it made me feel icky. I think it was the biggest video that got exposure at the time. Like, there were some shots in there that I was like, yeah, I'm quite proud of that. But other ones, I was like, ugh, this is so manufactured. I felt so, people are going to question. And the comments in the videos were like, what are these cards made out of? And I was like, yeah, you're right. But I think enough time has passed now that I will happily do a tell-all. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you're not following me on my socials, please do. Just join me. Just go to my website, javierhakeem.com. I'm going to have stuff coming out. I've got stuff on the pipeline, and I realized I was about to plug it, but I don't know what time you're going to listen to this podcast, so it doesn't matter. I'm bad at the admin, but just thank you for your support. Follow me on the socials, join my mailing list, do all the things, and thank you so much. I'll catch you guys next time. All right, see you later. Bye.